There's wearable computers, big data, social network data, and location data. And the Google Glass is probably the thing that kicks off that age the best. I call this the Apple II, the contextual age. When I got my Apple II in 1977, it didn't do anything. It had a tape drive, and you had to load apps off a tape, and there was only like 2 apps. And even when you got that, though, you knew that that was the future, and that would kick off, something interesting in my life. I didn't quite understand where it was going to go, but you knew that your life had changed when you got that, and I feel the same way about this. It doesn't do a lot of, there's a lot of misperceptions of this. Even before I got it, I thought, oh, I'm going to be able to look at something and have it augment or something like that, or I'm going to be able to record all full time, and it just doesn't do that. I can turn on and record something, but I did a 6-minute video and it ate 20% of the battery, so it gives you a sense of the battery life. And that's why it's off. Right now it's off. It's not listening, it's not doing anything. I have to turn it on, which you'll see.
And you turn it on just by lifting your head?
Looking up, I set it to be 30 degrees, so I have to look 30 degrees up, and it turns on when I do that. Or I can touch it. So there's a panel here. Yeah. Somebody took a nice picture of me.
And you mentioned something interesting, so you can set which degree?
Yeah, so it has accelerometers and a gyroscope in it, so it knows that you're looking up, and it turns on at 30. You could set it at 10, but it kept coming on too much and eating the battery, particularly when I was driving. It came on like every 15 seconds, and so I turned it to 30, and that seems to work. And then when it comes on, then it just says the time and OK glass. I can actually show you what I'm seeing.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
One of the things a lot of people asked me about was like a battery time.
You can plug in an external, so I have external Mophie packs, and it has a USB at the bottom. And so it's just like a cell phone. You can charge it up or you can...
But I mean, how long does it last if you were using it?
I've gone through the whole day, all days so far, but it doesn't stay on very long. And I learned when you record video, it eats 20% of the battery if I record a video like what you're doing. It lasts all day if you use it the way it's supposed to be used. But if you're going to use it for a lot of video, then it
just like you would with an iPhone?
Yep. Make this work.
You said something interesting on Facebook about glass. You were saying something you're aware every day.
Yeah, so see, I can say OK glass, and then I have a choice of take a picture. I just took a picture. Let me try that again. OK glass. And you can see as I move my head up and down, it scrolls as well. So I can scroll through a longer text that way. So I can take a picture, I can send a message, I can answer a phone call, I can call somebody that I have some contacts I put in here, like my wife and my boss. I can get directions to something. Let me show you the directions. What would be an address that I would need directions to?
Alexanderplatz.
Okay, glass. Get directions to Alexanderplatz, Berlin, Germany.
If it's too close, maybe Brent.
And it just told me to head southwest. And it shows the map turns based on where my head is aimed a little bit. So they're sort of not accurate, but usually outside it's pretty accurate. And that's pretty cool.
That's like easy.
Yeah, it's searching for GPS. So in here, it's still a GPS problem. But that's pretty cool. So you know you're walking or driving the right way because you know where you're headed. And if it says turn left on the street, you know when you look left, you'll see that you're going the right way.
And when you get to where you need to turn, does it show an arrow? Or?
Yeah, it tells you, it talks to me. So there's a speaker here that I can hear, and it tells me turn left at Otto Brunstrasse, whatever. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And let's see, what else does it do? Take a picture, record a video. Yeah, for instance, it says head southwest, right? And then it tells you turn by turn. It does all the standard Google navigation stuff.
Do they have that set up with face recognition? So when
No.
you see some, no.
No.
Okay, that would be awesome.
Not yet. And I don't know that it's going to stop. How do you cancel? Oh, there we go. All right, so actually, let me go through that. Let me turn that on.
And can you use visual search using glasses?
Yes, let me do that. Okay, Glass, Google, next conf. See, it said next concert.
That too.
Yeah. Okay, Glass, Google, next conf, Berlin. Yeah, see.
Or if you maybe just do next Berlin.
Yeah, probably. Okay, Glass, Google, next Berlin. It is pretty fast, but it you know, sometimes it is a little frustrating. And there you go, panel. Now the problem is it doesn't show much information. And it's not a full web browser. It usually brings up like a Wikipedia card with a short. I think this is why Yahoo bought Sumly, because this kind of product needs a very short summary of what is actually out there on the web. You're not going to read a New Yorker 40,000 word article on this thing, right? So you're only going to, it's really for notifications, texts, short texts, you know, my stocks are in here. Let me see if I can show you something.
So can you tweet using this?
Not yet, because there's no Twitter app. I can Google Plus, but it's really crude right now. It's not very good. I can share a picture to Google Plus, so I can take a picture and then share it instantly with people.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
What about a message?
You can see,
Can
like,
you do a message on Google Plus?
I think so, but not yet. There's a lot missing. I think that's why they said it's not coming out. So here's my calendar, and here's the battery. So you can see the battery has already gone down just in the first hour. So I carry a couple batteries just in case. But
How often do we have to load it to reload it?
you know, just in normal life, I haven't had to using it normally. Now, if I'm using it like this is taking a lot of battery because it's Bluetoothing the display.
How long does one battery last?
All day.
All day?
Yeah, in normal usage when you don't keep it on. So that's right now I'm keeping it on and I'm shoving data from it to via Bluetooth, so I'm keeping the radio alive, and that takes more battery. I did a 6-minute video and it took 20% of the battery. So that gives you a sense. Usually it's off, like right now it's off. So it only turns on for a few seconds at a time. And that's why it lasts a day. So it stretches that 45-minute battery into all day, right?
How do you turn it on?
Touching it or looking up. You can set the angle that you look up. I've set it to 30 degrees because that way it doesn't come on a lot by accident. So let me see if I can, and it crashed. That's the problem.
Do you use the New York Times headline app?
Not, it doesn't have that yet turned on, yeah. I do use that on my phone.
On Google Plus, you wrote you have taken 3 or 4 journeys by airplane, and nobody was asking you.
Some people do, but they're generally geeks or people who've seen it on TV. If they recognize it, it's because they saw it on TV or saw it in the press and they're interested in it.
I've read there's a bathroom debate about your glasses.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one.
Why is it?
Well, because I forget it's on. It's just part of my glasses now. When I just walk around, it's just on. It's just there. And so I don't take it off. Which it doesn't record, you know, so I'm not recording in the bathroom. A lot of people thought there's a lot of misperceptions that they think that this is recording all day long. No, it only records when you impel it to turn on and you tell it to record. So if it has a little light on it, then you can assume that I'm recording, because it only can record when the projector is on. It can't record when it's off.
But even if you want to film inappropriate pictures in the bathroom, you have to look at it, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, no, you have to turn it on. So you have to say, okay, glass. And then you have to say, record a video. So like right now I'm recording a video of you. And you can see it's on, right? And if you're really good, you can even see the image in the glass. You know, I didn't quite realize that you can see that, but I'm pretty good at seeing, when you're wearing it, I can see if you're taking a picture or recording a video or looking at my email.
but I'm pretty happy to have my pants on. So.
Yeah.
How long did it take for you to get sort of used to wearing glasses and having that?
It took about 2 days where it just fades. It usually sits up here. So it's just up here, and it took about 2 days for it to feel like there wasn't something on my glasses. Because for the first day, it feels like there's a fly on your glass or something up there that's not supposed to be there.
And if you don't wear it, do you miss it already?
Yeah, because...
You're wearing it all the time?
Yeah, and that's Steve Mann was one of the guys who's been using wearables for 20 years. Says that's one of the interesting problems is that you miss it when you take it off. That it's the reverse, right? It sort of gets burned in. How do I turn off this GPS thing? Oh, that's really interesting. No, it's just trying to. There we go. Stop. Got it. Okay. So I can stop my navigation.
Okay, and is it legal to use Google Glasses while driving? I know you in US or in Europe. Are there any
No.
laws for?
There is no law specifically for wearable computers yet, but there are lots of laws about distracted driving. So if I get in an accident, is the cop going to say, "Well, I was distracted driving because I was wearing this"? Probably. You know, so there's gray area there. I think you open yourself up to some risk. Some legal risk by wearing wearables. For me, I think the law should allow it because it's far less distracting than looking at your phone. Because you need to take your eye off the road and look down or look at a screen. Here, I'm able to see in front. I'm able to look at the road and see the information and talk to it. And it's far better than looking at my navigation system in the car. Because then I have to take my eye off the road and look down at my navigation system. So I think this will be safer, but right now there's that is one of the legal questions that has to be decided.
There's already one state that's looking into.
Yeah, West Virginia, but they sort of decided not to do that. It's stupid to ban them before you even have some data or try it out because this is far safer than. If I'm going to have somebody looking at a phone or looking at this is far safer than looking down at the phone.
Because you're still looking out.
You know,
What are some apps or functionality that you're looking for to being built in?
I'd love to walk into an airport and say, "Where's the power supply?" Where's the power plugs? Or where's the airport lounge? Where's the closest Starbucks? There's nothing like that, right? I'd love to get to a conference and say, what are my 3 choices right now to go and do? You know, what are the 3 tracks, and have it tell me there's 3 sessions. Session 1's in this room, session 2, and then I'd love to have it navigate to me. But indoor navigation isn't done. There's lots of people who are working on that. Lots of companies who are working on trying to make that work. But there's a lot of infrastructure that's needed. Even the power supply, you know, the plug question at airports, that requires a lot of people to get a lot of data and mark it somewhere, and then have an app that would call it out. So we're a long ways from having it assist your life in that way, I guess. I'd love it to be much more contextual than it is. It doesn't know that I'm driving right now, and it would be nice if it should be able to figure that out, because if I'm in my car, there's a Bluetooth radio in the car, and it can say, "Oh, you're in the car, and you're going 40 miles an hour, so you're driving," and then it should switch into a low notification mode and not do certain things that, like it should only let me see the map. That's it. Shouldn't let me do text, shouldn't let me see text if I'm moving.
And what do we think about the privacy concerns which are raising right now? People who will say it's disturbing my privacy or something like that.
Well, in public we have no privacy. It's a big debate. it's less freaky than I expected it to be, because it's not on. A lot of people think it's on all the time. First of all, it's not on right now. It's not taking pictures. And Google made it so that it's pretty limiting. The microphone, for instance, if I record you, I hear myself really well. I put up a video on Google Plus of an interview I did, standing this far apart in a quiet room. I can barely hear you. And that's standing in a quiet room, close together, where you know you're being recorded and you're talking directly to me and I can barely hear you. So if I was listening to her conversation where she was talking to her friend, I don't think it would even pick it up. Part of that's to protect the user interface, because if it did hear her, she could say, okay, glass, and do things, send an email. So some of it is to protect the user interface, but some of it, I think they made very specific design choices to not freak people out too much, because this product already freaks people out. It's over the freaky line.
Perhaps it has been a mistake by Google to not to inform the public correctly.
The problem is that, when they're doing the R&D, they can't really let you try it on, and even if they I'd let you try it on for a minute, you just don't get an idea of what it does in 1 minute. And you need to wear it for a couple days before you really have an idea of where the limitations are and what it really does. Like people on Google Plus are asking me, can you zoom in? Like I took a picture in a plane yesterday of somebody holding a newspaper. Can you zoom in and read what she's saying on the newspaper or reading on the newspaper? No, it has no zoom and the camera sucks. It's not as good as your camera. I mean, if you took a picture you could actually, there's enough pixels that you can zoom in. Here, there's not. It's a crappy camera. It's not as good a camera as in my Motorola phone. So let me turn this off so I save some of my battery.
Are you happy with the resolution of the
It's good enough for Facebook and Google Plus and Twitter and Instagram. That kind of and Path. I have a Path app on here. It's good enough for that. It's not as good a resolution as a high-end modern smartphone. It's not as good as an iPhone or a Samsung.
I mean, in the glasses.
Oh, the display is. I can read. Yeah, it's good enough to read even long text. It's just, it's a small screen and it's not really optimized for that.
But it's a small screen, but for you it has the appearance of as if it were a larger screen.
Yeah, it's a screen. Virtually it's about this big. It's good enough for reading text. I mean, I can read. You can see what the text looks like.
So many people were waiting to get one. How did you get one?
I was number 107.
Opening glass, take a picture.
I was one of the first people at the Google I/O conference in line. So they've shipped probably a few hundred out to the Explorer program people so far, and they're working every week. They're going to sell another few hundred. They have 3 locations and they're shipping them out. They sold 8,000 so far, right? So at $1,500 a piece, which is not too bad. It shows that there's a lot of interest from developers and people. It's funny. I don't think Google will like this, but this is going to be $200 in 2 years, 3 years. There's no technology in here other than the prism and the projector that costs any money. This is 2/3 of a cell phone technology, right? There's not a cell phone radio. There's not a big battery. There's nothing in here that costs any money. So they're going to be able to produce this in a very mass quantity pretty quickly.
And it's going to be much smaller, right?
No, I would expect it to be about this size. They might get this prism a little bit better, but this is going to be what the product looks like.
What do you expect the introductory price to be then?
I would guess they're going to aim at under $500. Maybe it'll be $700, but
500 is a sweet spot. Everybody's.
Yeah, I think that when I talk to normal people, at $500 they get interested. At $700, it's like that's for rich people, right? So $500, it starts getting down a normal person level. It's still
It's a mass product.
Yeah, it's still and then to really make it a mass product, it needs to be $200.
Do you think that's going to be?
I mean, a Facebook phone is $100. right? The new HTC One phone is $100. So that gives you an idea of, an iPad, a high-end iPad is $500, and an HTC phone is $100. So it needs to be somewhere in that range,
But do you think it's gonna be like a mass production in 2 years?
In 2 years, 3 years.
3 years?
2 to 4 years, absolutely. I think it'll be an exponential growth curve. As more apps come out for it. Right now, it's like the Apple II, when it first came out. All the geeks bought it, but it wasn't a mass market.
So do you think this is something that is going to be more, not just Google, but other people will be?
Yeah, I know Apple's working on some, Oakley's working on some. Oakley already builds ski goggles with a heads-up display down here
You
from
tested
Recon.
that,
And, yeah, and Smith makes a similar goggle with the Recon display right here.
Well, Samsung.
I assume everybody is going to do one. Samsung has a problem though because they can build the product, the physical product, but they don't know anything about me. So Google, my emails in Google, my searches are in Google, my maps are Google, some of my social data is in Google, right? And so Google knows a lot about me, and part of this product is all the Google Now stuff, is the predictive stuff, where it tells you, yesterday when I was going through the airports, it was telling me my flights and my gates, and that's really what makes this product cool. It helps you live your life and assists you, and the more it does that, the cooler it will become, and the more useful it will become. Google knows that, Apple knows a little bit of it, Facebook knows a little bit of that, Amazon, right? So those are the people or the companies that I would expect to play in this new age of context kind of product, right?
Do you think that like Google and Amazon could be a partnership? Because that's going to be a mass kind of thing.
Yeah, does Jeff Bezos get along with Larry Page? I guess that's, that's the question. I guess they have a lot of friction because Amazon Kindle is Android, but it's a skinned Android. So, but I think Google's gained the realization now that that's going to be how Android's done on smart. The new Facebook phone.
I haven't seen it, but I heard about it.
Yeah, I have it. Is there Wi-Fi in this?
Yeah, there should be.
And have you heard if Microsoft is working on similar device like glasses?
Yeah, they already have some patents and stuff. They're working. I would expect everybody to work on this. Whether they actually release a product or not, I don't know. They're probably going to watch Google very closely. It's really interesting, that Apple model. I sold tablet PCs at NEC and then worked at Microsoft. And the tablet PC sold around, 1 million to 2 million units at Microsoft. And we knew it wasn't very good. And even internally, nobody really used it, or a lot of the engineers didn't use it at Microsoft. And then Apple watched what Microsoft did and perfected it in a way that Microsoft couldn't. And now we have the iPad and selling tens of millions of copies a quarter, right? Okay. So it's a nice phone.
In terms of devices, you talked about other companies also working on glass-like devices.
Yeah.
Do you expect other types of wearable devices?
Well, the watches, I have a Basis watch. In fact, I should put it on. There's going to be lots. The Pebble watch, the Basis watch, Apple's working on a watch, and God knows who else. Microsoft got in the rumor mill and let it be known that they were working on a watch, which is sort of funny because they had a watch. Remember the Spot watch that they had 8 years ago?
Yeah, but it didn't take much.
Yeah. So there'll be other. So the Basis watch actually monitors my heart rate and my acceleration. It's like a Nike Fuel Band or a Fitbit. That's really goes even further, and it's pretty cool. The Pebble watch is more of a competitor to the Glass because it shows you notifications on your wrist instead of in your eye, and it'll be interesting to see who likes which approach and why. I like both approaches, so I'm gonna have I like having the watch and the Glass. I like the Glass better though, because of the camera and because of the ability to see the maps. The maps know where I'm looking, and so.
Have you tried Pebble Watch?
Yeah, I have a few of the early prototypes. It's pretty cool, but I don't usually wear
But you
a
don't wear
watch.
it, then.
I have the Basis watch, and I keep forgetting to put it on. You know, I never have worn a watch, you know, for a long time.
So that's sort of the proof, because you never forget to put the glass on.
No, this is part of my life already. I'm fairly certain I'm not going to have a day in my life where I don't wear something on my eye anymore.
Right.
It's too useful.
Right.
The watch is I don't know.
Have you used it for like actual directions rather than just testing, but actually because you want to?
Yeah, getting around it works pretty good when it understands where you want to go, and it's a little rough there.
Okay.
I wish it had Waze style stuff because all right, so now a phone call's coming in. It shows me the name of the person.
Oh, that's
it shows me a picture of the person.
Oh,
and
and
then,
to the person.
Yeah, I
Do you have to use your phone to accept the call?
can. No, I just picked up the phone call. Hey, Paul. Hey. Yeah, what's going on? I'm in the middle of a press conference right now. It's a little rough. It's a bone transmission speaker, so it vibrates the bone to make you hear it, and it's okay if you cup your ear. It's better. So they need to do a little bit more work to make it a stronger sound. It's hard to hear in a noisy
I
environment.
was gonna say, if, like, you know, outside and
Yeah.
walking or something.
But generally, if I'm in a really noisy environment, then I'll switch it. Then I'll say, "Hey, hang out a second. Let me get my phone." And I'll go back to my phone.
Okay.
But generally, it's pretty good. And it's really great in the plane when you're waiting. You know, when you forget to take your phone out of your
Sure,
bag.
yeah.
It's just. I was talking to my wife the other day.
Like 30-second, just to say hi and then.
Yeah.
What's the version of Android inside?
It is, but it's not. It's really closed down and really different Android than on the phone. It doesn't look anything like Android. There's no way to get to settings, to the normal settings. It has settings for this, and then it has an app that you run from here. I haven't seen it hacked yet because not enough developers have them. But I expect within a month we're going to see some good stories about somebody who rooted the glass and gets in there.
But the system will be open from Android APIs.
It's not very open. It's not. It's much more of an Apple product, Apple style product than before. It is really locked down, very very constrained UI. It does not have a lot to it. The API, the SDK that came out for developers to build apps here is very limiting. They don't let developers have access to the camera the way that developers want, for instance. That's why it won't do augmented reality. You can't look at something and have it augment the way you can with a cell phone, you know, using Metaio or using...
Do you think they'll loosen that eventually, or?
I would say probably... I have a feeling that design choices were made for two reasons. One is the privacy problems, the freakiness of it. If it starts augmenting and doing things with your face or with products, I think people aren't ready for it. So I think that was something on the table. But the battery life just isn't there to do long-term augmented things, walk around the town and see things augmented coming off the street posts. The battery life just isn't there, and until you can figure out how to get a bigger battery in there, that's going to be a problem. And a bigger battery is a problem because that's the battery right here. You don't want it to be lopsided because then it won't feel good on your head. And so they had a lot of design constraints, I think, that led them to some of these choices. Steve Lee, the product manager, also said they made a very explicit choice to not have it in your eye line. Because they tested it with it in the eye line, like that. It's not designed to be used like that. It's designed to be above your eye line because they found in their testing that this was human, this was not, right? And because this turned into board, because now I'm looking through something, and here I'm looking at you eye to eye, and you can see I'm looking at you, and I'm not, now I'm looking up at it, you can tell that, right? Added a little bit of social cue of, I'm not paying attention to you anymore, I'm looking at my glass. Right, I'm looking at my email, or whatever is on my glass,
Make it as human as possible. You said it was the aim of the designers, but
yeah.
Have you sort of felt a change in your behavior from without the glasses?
A little bit. For one, I know I have a camera all the time. So, and I've taken pictures in places that I would have liked to have a camera and taken a picture. Like the other day, I took a picture on the plane after they told me to turn off my devices, right? And so I have a camera on all the time, all right? And
Not just that, I mean just physically, I mean moving your head. And all that.
that I don't have so much of a different change. I do have a change. I know I don't have to look at my phone anymore because all my email and all my notifications come in here. So that is a change where I used to be very addicted to my phone and watching, and then during dinner I would be staring down, looking at my phone once in a while to see what was going on Facebook or whatever. And I noticed that used to be an extraordinarily rude and weird behavior. And now I remember my stepmother giving me shit about that, right? Looking at my phone, and now she's doing it. So society has changed. It's become acceptable to look at your phone during dinner. I went out to dinner with Nina Zagat, who developed the Zagat guides, and she says, I love having my phone and taking pictures of food and talking to people, and she thinks it's rude to think that's rude. And I'm like, wow, society has really changed.
But that must be really weird. I mean, I think people react differently now. They look at you and say, "Where the fuck do you know that from?" It's just because people are really used to people watching their cell phone.
Yeah.
But what's the reaction of the people, really?
Well, right now it's just a novelty. It's so new that people are just, can I try it? Can I, what does it do? They've seen it on TV or in the newspaper or whatever, and they're interested in it. I want to see what happens after 6 months, after more and more people get these, and the newness of it wears down. Because right now it's very new. I remember using a credit card at a Starbucks for the first time, and people were giving me the same kind of, like, what is that, and why are you wasting our time in line, and why aren't you paying cash like everybody else? And it was the same kind of reaction. Now it's like
Everybody,
right?
But you still have your phone, right? You were talking
Yeah,
about
it's
how you don't
always-
need to look at it anymore.
Well, it's paired to my phone too, so my phone and my glass have a symbiotic relationship.
Do you expect the phone to disappear?
No, not with this. No, because there's still something very powerful about having a bigger, higher resolution display that you can type on and that you can play games on. Playing games on this is going to be very different. Like, what am I going to do with Angry Birds? Go like that?